This time, it's the story of a man who found out his cheating wife was going on an affair trip. And a total of 27 people carried out a move while she was away. Take your time reading it. I have some questions. Please point out any issues. My cheating wife is going on an overnight trip with 3 female colleagues from her part-time job this weekend, and I want to move at this time. Is it okay if I take everything except her belongings out? I want to leave home completely empty without her stuff. By the way, the truth is the trip involves 2 couples having an affair, my wife and her lover, and a female colleague and her lover. I don't see any problem with that. Why don't you take your wife's parents and go on a day trip to where your wife and the others are staying? Thanks for the comments. I discussed this with my family, but haven't done anything with my in-laws yet. I have a good relationship with my mother-in-law, but not so much with my father-in-law. I totally forgot about the bank accounts, but there wasn't even $4,000 when I checked. But honestly, I don't really care about the money. I don't care if she used up the money or I don't get alimony as long as I secure custody of my 11-year-old daughter. But I will ruin her socially. No, you might as well get alimony. Do you have enough evidence for her social elimination? I think I have plenty. Motel visits 4 times in a month, lots of perverted emails, photos of the acts, and etc. Thank God my wife is bad with technology things, though it was quite a shock. I also have proof she didn't even prepare meals for our daughter because she wanted to meet her lover so badly. I've hired a PI to investigate the trip. I won't storm into their trip, but I will involve my wife and her lover's companies. The place they're staying is apparently a union recreation facility that the company has a contract with. Since they have to apply through the company to use it, we'll treat it as a company-sanctioned affair trip and storm the company. I plan to carry out the move using the younger folks in my family. Some relatives still farm, but my family and relatives have company jobs, with some doing both. Since we used to farm, my parents' house is unnecessarily huge, there are storage sheds, and for some reason we even have a small truck. I think we can move everything out in one go if we use the relatives' trucks too. For the reasons above, please spare me from a surprise trip with the in-laws or any other trips. I see, okay. Now all we have to do is send them to hell. Do your best. I appreciate you saying that. It's true I'm more anxious than anything, but I absolutely won't give up my daughter. Let me give some details, now. I'm 36, an office worker. Wife is 40, part-timer. Married 12 years, have an 11-year-old daughter. Lover is 25, a full-time employee in the sales department of my wife's company. He's engaged. I've never had an affair, divorce is the only option. Here's the background and explanation of the situation. The story will be long even if the duration is short, but please bear with me. In early July, I got a tip from a woman at my wife's workplace. This woman is my wife's high school classmate, and I have her contact info too. She told me they're openly touchy-feely at work, go out to eat together, and have been seen kissing and petting in a blind spot in the company warehouse. I was confused and pathetically cried to my parents. I talked with my parents a few times, then consulted a PI to gather evidence. As instructed, I checked her phone and PC emails, searched in the house, and took photos of my wife. And I confirmed her cheating from her phone emails and images. I was shocked beyond belief. From the emails, I know the day of their secret meeting. I had the PI solidify the evidence. In late July, a female acquaintance working at the local supermarket asked me, your daughter has started coming to buy discounted bread recently. Are you eating at home? From my daughter's story and my wife's emails, it became clear she wasn't making lunch for our daughter on days she met her lover. My daughter told me everything, crying a lot. In the beginning, she bought sandwiches and bread at the supermarket. But my wife found the empty bags and was furious. Apparently my wife yelled at her abnormally. It seems she also threatened her not to tell me. The money in her piggy bank has decreased a lot, and she gets yelled at if trash is found. So she thought of buying discounted items at the supermarket. She can quickly hide the bags for sweet buns. I felt pathetic for not noticing. I cried to my parents again and took advantage of summer vacation to have my daughter take refuge at my parents' place. I also asked relatives to force their kids to gather. Then last week, I got a call from my buddy. I saw your wife eating out with a young guy, so I tried talking to her. and she said she moved from the store to helping with outside sales. So she's out now. I secured a witness of my wife meeting her lover. I explained the situation to my buddy and made him promise to keep quiet. She's 40 and pulling this crap. Truly a piece of trash wife. The engagement will definitely be broken off. Destroying the scum is important, but prioritize taking care of your daughter. I've already obtained various information on the lover's fiancé. PI is scary. Also, I haven't contracted a lawyer yet because I was short-sighted. The plan was to storm the company and grill them like, what's going on with your labor management and ethics if you let them use the recreation facility for an affair trip? I intended to proceed with the divorce negotiations in his favor, like getting custody, after exposing it to my wife's friends and acquaintances to cut off her escape route. But when I went to meet with the PI firm yesterday, they stopped me. They said it was too risky. Regardless of the facts, I was told that they could spread false stories that would put me in a bad position. And that damage could hurt my daughter. They told me to refrain from such actions and leave it to a lawyer, and put my daughter first for now, and I bawled. I'm supposed to give them an answer about the lawyer by Sunday. I thought I had carefully considered what's best for my daughter. That's why I had her take refuge at my parents' and forced my relatives' kids to gather at my expense. A total of 10 people gathered, 3 men and 7 women, including 3 adults, 1 college student, 2 high schoolers, 4 middle schoolers. They're all older than my daughter, so they play with her, help her study. Someone is always by her side at night. Starting tomorrow, I'll also be living at my parents' house. Sounds like you got a good PI. I get you're frustrated and want to storm the company, but good thing you held back. Have them refer a lawyer. The bank account is for automatic payments for rent, utilities, phones, credit cards, and should have had $60,000 but only had around $20,000. She's been withdrawing $1,000 to $3,000 at a time. The number of withdrawals increased starting after June. Before May was probably gifts to the wife's family, after June was probably to them and the lover. I'll make sure to recover this too. I canceled the cash card and credit cards I gave my wife. Maybe I was too eager to corner them and punish them myself. Being admonished by the PI and seeing the comments here has helped me calm down a bit. I'll ask the PI firm about a lawyer. My parents' house is a 30-minute drive from our place, and my wife's parents are about 20 minutes away. My daughter's transfer to a new school is not on my mind. I'm looking for a new place to live in the same school district, and have a few candidates. If we can't find a new place by the end of summer vacation, I'll have her go to school from my parents for a while. My mom said she'll handle driving her. Need to quickly consult a lawyer and rethink how to deal with my wife. Writing here and getting comments made me realize how haphazard I was being. Thanks everyone, I think I can move forward without making mistakes now. But, I took a total of 27 people out for high-end restaurant for dinner. The bill was over $1,800. Don't go to such a fancy place. Do your best, rooting for you. I drove my wife to the supermarket where they were meeting in this morning. After I dropped her off, I was timing to get on the road watching her in the rearview mirror. Then her lover came out from behind a parked car, suddenly kissed my wife and put his arm around her as they went into the store. I got depressed in the car, even though they were still less than 30 feet away. Then I got an email from the PI. We got it all on video. We took photos too. Stay strong for your daughter. I opened the car window, stuck my arm out up to the elbow and waved to signal I understood. The PI sent another email. He just sent me a waving emoji. I burst out laughing in the car. The PI sent yet another email. That's right, make that face. Show it to your daughter. I thought I hired the best PI. So I asked them to handle finding a lawyer too. The lawyers they partner with weren't available, but they referred me to a female lawyer. I got some advice and made plans to meet her on Monday. Drag the jerk lover down with her. The move started before noon and finished around 3 p.m. 6 men and 9 women assisted in the emergency evacuation, and the children of relatives also helped to make the evacuation go smoothly. While the women were packing dishes and small items, the men carried out the big stuff. Well, I did get depressed when we found birth control pills at sorting my wife's stuff in the dresser. We only left my wife's personal belongings. We moved out all the appliances, big and small. We even moved the bed frame. There's a small car my wife uses, but it's in my name, so I took it. Felt good. Looking forward to tomorrow evening. I'm also supposed to get the report from the PI on Monday, so I'm fully prepared. But why are the photos my wife is sending only with one female colleague? There should be two others. And the angle doesn't look like a selfie, so who's taking the photos for you? Your lies are showing and it's laughable. Now we just wait for the wife's reaction. Now I'm going to report my wife's coming home. My wife called me before 4 p.m. on Sunday. She was furious. What is this? There's nothing in the house. We've moved. What are you doing so selfish? So where's the new house? Huh? Think about what you did. There's no place for you. What? I just went on a trip with my close colleagues. You have a problem with that? You're so petty. Then send me a picture with all the people you went with. What's wrong? The photos you sent only had you and one colleague, right? Come on, do it. No matter if we're married, I have my own private life and privacy. Around here, her voice started shaking. And she started slipping up here and there. You have no common sense. How could I send photos of other people without permission? It's not that you can't send pictures, you just don't have anything to send. Don't ever call me again, scum. I exploded with anger and hung up. The call lasted less than 10 minutes. I intentionally didn't bring up our daughter, but my wife didn't ask about her either. So that's how it is, I thought. Next up, the idiot FIL. My FIL called on my phone around 5 p.m. FIL was also furious. What's going on? What are you doing on your own? Why don't you ask your daughter? The cause is on her end. Well, I doubt she'll tell the truth. Don't screw with me. What's with that attitude? I'll sue you. So, prepare yourself. Call ended in less than 5 minutes. Of course, I recorded these conversations. My statements in the conversations are vague on the lawyer's instructions. The lawyer called me this afternoon and said, let's meet tonight. Better to do it ASAP for my daughter. At that time, the lawyer advised me not to mention the affair, hiring a PI, having evidence, or plans to consult a lawyer if my wife and in-laws called or emailed. So I contracted the female lawyer, aiming for a quick resolution. I'm going to the company with the lawyer tomorrow. The lawyer will handle talking to the company. Also, if I send a content-certified mail tomorrow, it will arrive next day in the same city, so I'll do it. The destination: wife's parents' home, lover's parents' home, lover's fiance's home, lover's fiance's parents' home. Wife and lover's company, female colleague's home, full-time colleague lover's home. My daughter cried that although she moved, she doesn't want to change school and leave her friends. So the lawyer is coming with me to consult the school. And now for depressing news. The PI says there was swapping. I'm going to the PI office with the lawyer tomorrow. We will recalculate alimony etc. after seeing the extra evidence. Those rotten scumbags. Swapping? The epitome of trash. The swapping partner was the female colleague's lover? Yep, it was with the female colleague's lover. Never imagined they'd be doing it with 4 people. Maybe because the lawyer was with me, but the negotiation with my company went well. They agreed to let me take half or full days off as needed until this is settled. My co-workers will cover my work. When it's all over, I promised to treat them to a meal and drinks. Next, we went to the PI office. They told me the details of what the 4 of them did on the trip. I'm crushed. It seems they were all over each other, age gap be damned. Listening to this, what I thought was it was surprising they didn't do it outside. But the PI is amazing. Just because they went in the in-room jacuzzi. Just because they didn't close the room curtains, I'm amazed they got photos of them in the jacuzzi and having an orgy in the room. The lawyer was laughing like, we can handle it whatever you want. The content-certified mail has been sent. It will arrive today because it's in the same city and next city over. Left the content up to the lawyer, aiming to resolve this within the month. The alimony the others are as follows. $50,000 from my wife, $70,000 from her lover. No asset division. I get custody, no child support, no visitation rights. $20,000 consolation money for my daughter. Return of the $40,000 they used. Ban on contacting me, $10,000 violation. Ban on contacting my daughter, $20,000 violation. $20,000 each from the female colleague and colleague's lover. Today I'm going with the lawyer to consult my daughter's homeroom teacher. Apparently nowadays it's easier to get permission for out-of-district schooling. The lawyer says to involve not just the homeroom teacher and grade chief, but also the principal, class committee, PTA executives, child services, police. Even with all these people involved, apparently you can't let your guard down. She says that we need to be fully alert even with all of them involved. No contact from my wife yesterday and today. I'm bombarded by calls from my wife's friends and our mutual friends and acquaintances though. Yesterday, my FIL apparently kept calling my parents' house. My mom sent my daughter to house of relatives because of his persistent phone calls. She then called my dad, and he left work early to come home and argue with my FIL over the phone. My mom told me the story with lines like, "Your father was so cool and wonderful," but hearing my over 60-year-old mom gushing was a bit damaging. Your mental state is in shambles. It's good you have a lot of allies. From the bombardment of calls from my wife's friends, I figured out how she's explaining the situation. She's claiming I took our daughter and left one-sidedly, that I had a problem with her trip with close colleagues from work. That she's worried about our daughter. Every single one of them curses me out. I'm even getting calls from people I didn't give my number to. I told them that I was recording, that their statements ignoring the facts were slanderous, and that they were responsible for what they say. And when I said take responsibility for your words, they hung up one-sidedly and blocked my number. To the ones I didn't give my number, I added saying that's illegally obtaining personal information. So that's where things stand. Meeting with my daughter's homeroom teacher is at 2 p.m. Her friends are trash too. Guess you'll have to demand consolation money from all of them. Counterattack in progress. Here's a quick report. My wife cheated and I have evidence of it. When meeting her lover, she neglected childcare for our daughter, and I have evidence of this as well. I've contracted a law firm and they're handling various matters. The reaction was intense when I sent the above contents email to her friends, her acquaintances, and people who called to harass me. It seems there's a certain number of people on my wife's side. Looks like I'll have to fight them thoroughly. As for my daughter's school, I think I've gotten ahead of things. The principal also sat in, not just the homeroom teacher and grade chief. Maybe because the lawyer was with me. They said they'd urgently come up with countermeasures and put in a good word for the out-of-district schooling application. I got an email from my daughter's friend's parent, concerned about my daughter. For now I'm glad the school stuff has settled down. But I've gotten almost no contact from the places I sent the content certified mail. The only one I received was from my wife and lover's company. The lawyer said the company is questioning my wife, her lover, female colleague, and the colleague's lover. And their company contacted to talk with me ASAP, so I got a response that we would talk tonight. At first I wrote I don't have a good relationship with my FAL, but it's actually serious. The reason is money. He's asked for money many times but I kept refusing. Because of that too, he won't listen to my side no matter what. The female colleague and colleague's lover are both married. Each has a family with one son. It's my fault that I was blasted with phone attacks and other things that were not true. I don't know if I've made up for it, but I'm taking various countermeasures. I've hinted at lawsuits to some of my wife's supporters. That's the situation for now. 3 families destroyed by the affair? All of them except the lover have kids. What a trash group. By the way, I dropped a bomb of content certified mail but finally realized it's no surprise I'm not getting any responses. I put a lot of thought into who to send it to. But thinking about it carefully, the 4 recipients and 1 company were all gathered in one place. No wonder the only contact is from their company. In the discussion with my wife and lover's company, the lawyer presented our evidence and led the discussion. I just played the role of the exhausted husband who was cheated on. My wife, lover, female colleague, and colleague's lover quit at the end of September. Effectively fired. No wonder they were fired as they used the company's benefits for their affair. The usage application even said it was for 2 rooms for 2 married couples, my wife, me, female colleague's husband. My wife and lover even used the company car to go to hotels during work hours. And conversely, they had left the company car in a big shopping center's parking lot and went in my wife's car. The four of them admitted to making false entries in the usage application, but apparently insisted they didn't do anything wrong. They said they went sightseeing, ate meals and shopped together, but the rooms were separate for men and women. Since it wasn't what was written on the content certified mail, my lawyer and I were summoned. When I entered the conference room, you should have seen my wife and lover's stupid faces. After freezing for a moment, they turned pale with a look of "Why is he here?" The female colleague and colleague's lover must have understood the situation from my wife and lover's attitudes and expressions. They hung their heads when they saw me. I presented evidence showing their statements were lies, photos of them being lovey-dovey while out and shopping, to the company side. The evidence of wrongdoing in separate men's and women's rooms was only shown to the four of them. Photos of them having orgies and swapping. There were no objections. The company handed down the punishment, and my lawyer said we'll also be seeking consolation money and to discuss it another day, and it was over. As we were leaving, the lover snapped, rushed at me screaming, and got in 3 punches while I was stunned. Although I punched back once and meant to kick him around the thigh, somehow my toes sunk into his lower abdomen. Then the lover fainted in agony, emitting a stimulating odor fluid from his lower body. I did a bad thing to the company. I laughed. After finishing up at the company and going home, there was no contact from my wife's family to mine. Then yesterday while I was at work, I got a call on my phone from my parents. My mom excitedly said, "Your MIL is there. Her face is swollen, so she's taking her to the hospital right away." I got my boss's permission and left work early. When I got to the hospital, my MIL was being examined. My dad was in the waiting room, so I asked him what happened. When the doorbell at my parents' house rang, my mom answered and apparently my MIL was apologizing over and over in the rain. Mom tried to get her to stop but she wouldn't, so she hurriedly called for my dad and brought her inside. Luckily my daughter happened to be at a relative's house, so she didn't have to see it. Since she was completely drenched, they had her change into my mom's clothes, then came to the hospital and now she's being examined. The results showed that in addition to her swollen left cheek from being hit, she also had bruises on her right arm and thigh. We got a medical certificate and came home. My MIL's injuries were indeed caused by my FIL. It seems like my MIL said I should apologize to them and our granddaughter as she read the content certified mail. And my FIL exploded with rage saying there's no need to apologize. Even so, my MIL said the one who did wrong was our daughter, she was beaten black and blue. My parents tried to convince her she can't go back to her house now and should stay with us, but my MIL insisted she didn't want to bother them. The conversation failed to reach an agreement. Then my daughter came home. My MIL immediately went to her, saying sorry over and over. My daughter hugged her and cried. The moment my MIL said thank you for everything, my daughter was amazing. She tearfully persuaded her, saying you absolutely can't go anywhere, grandma can't leave. So my MIL decided to live at my parents' house. Continuing from yesterday, my MIL, daughter, and mom sleep together in one room. Your daughter is too sweet. Asking for money and violence, how rotten can your FIL be? Going back in time, I met with the lover's fiance's dad this afternoon. He apparently has quite mixed feelings towards me. Thanking me for telling them, but also his daughter got hurt because I didn't properly control my wife. He says he understands that it's unfair but he can't help thinking that. After this, the lawyer took over and discussed future plans. The lover's fiance's side said they're going to break off the engagement and seek consolation money. To review what's happened so far, we were going to have everyone involved meet and discuss. But there are too many people involved to fit in the lawyer's office. When my lawyer said we need to find a venue, the lover's fiance's dad said I have connections so let's rent a conference room. The lawyer is coordinating schedules now. It'll likely be Monday evening. Up to 19 people will be gathering. We finally made it this, but I realized my daughter understood the situation even more than I thought. I'm disgusted by my own patheticness. No time to be discouraged. 3 families destroyed? Affairs are a grave sin. It's wild they do something so high risk as an office affair. Last night's discussion was with the female colleague and colleague's lover. The result was squeezing $20,000 out of each of them. On the condition the female colleague's husband and colleague's lover's wife split the cost of the PI for the day of the trip. I gave them copies of the evidence. With all the stuff at the company too, they didn't argue at all. My lawyer calmly proceeded and ended it. They also decided to divorce too. Today I took the day off work for facing off with my wife and lover in the afternoon. Meeting with my wife's company in the morning. It'll be complete victory against my wife's side too. Moreover, my MAL asked my FIL to get divorced, and finished groundwork with my FIL's siblings and relatives. My MAL got my FIL's brother to agree to take in my FIL and wife. And my MIL got a job. She's supposed to take over all the work by next year. Still no apologies from my wife and her lover. Talk to the lawyer. If there's no apology, we'll proceed without compromise. The sinners are being burnt to a crisp. My heart is hot. Looks like your MIL woke up too. Fully supporting her. Oh my, I made the wrong move. It didn't end in one day. Tuesday, still not fully settled. And now the lover has run away. What? All right, in order for now. Tuesday morning, discussion with my wife's company. It was like we're sorry we couldn't manage our employees type of talk. Some of the people around them apparently noticed the affair too, but let sleeping dogs lie and pretended not to know. I've gotten a bit as an apology and for transportation costs. Then in the afternoon, faced off with my wife and lover's side in the rental meeting room. When I spotted the lover at the meeting place, I taunted him with, "Did you wear a diaper? No accidents allowed today." The lawyer scolded me for being childish though. Furthermore, my FIL's brother and younger brother joined in, which wasn't planned. My FIL's left cheek and above his right eye were swollen. My wife was pale as a ghost. First, the lawyer explained the situation of the adultery using hotels, neglecting and abusing our daughter. And the recent affair trip and swapping based on what we've learned. My lawyer demanded my wife and lover to explain how the affair started after making sure there were no mistakes. They said it began at my wife's company welcome party in late May. The lover drunkenly confessed he was a virgin. My wife overheard nearby and made a move on him. Apparently the lover complaining, "My fiancé won't let me do it," looked cute. My wife approached him, and after the party ended, they met up again and went to a hotel. The relationship continued from there. Then in a certain hotel district, they ran into the female colleague and colleague's lover. From there, they started sharing info on date spots and hotels. I'm guessing the lover got a woman who'd sleep with him and went out of control. And my wife got swept up being hit on by a younger man. Are they all idiots? It took a while, but we finished hearing them out. Then the lawyer explained the alimony and others. The lover's fiancé side also declared they're demanding things like breaking off the engagement and alimony. Then the lover flipped out. "Don't act like my fiancé when you won't even let me have sex with you. If you don't, that means you've got another man, right? Or do you have some disease?" He kept spewing the worst things a person could say. The fiancé had been crying the whole time, but it turned to crying aloud. The lover's dad and fiancé's dad were furious. The fiancé's dad punched the lover a few times, and the lover's mom started wailing. An employee from the law office who was present restrained the fiancé's dad, and my MAL and lover's mom comforted the fiancé. Then for some reason, my FIL had to open his big mouth. "Hey, scum. Ha! You're a worthless scumbag who can't provide a satisfying life for your wife or cherish your in-laws. Scum like you don't get to talk big. It's because my grandkid has your rotten blood that she grew up to be an ungrateful kid who doesn't respect her mother. Missing a meal for 1 or 2 days won't kill a kid, moron." I snapped and tried to throw my chair at him, but the lawyer and my FIL's younger brother grabbed me so I couldn't. My FIL's brother is apparently 73, but he was beating the crap out of my 70-year-old FIL one-sidedly. The lawyer declared the discussion can't continue and adjourned it. She got everyone to agree to meet again Wednesday night. We did talk about the used money, and apparently my FIL took $25,000, and the lover and my wife took $15,000. FIL seems to have used it for loans and gambling. The lover and wife's part seems to have been used for date expenses and the lover's car loan payments. So Wednesday, the lover ran away. By the time his parents noticed, he was already gone. His parents had no choice but to apologize. The fiancé's side was dumbfounded. We decided to settle my wife's part first and demanded alimony and others. My FIL siblings pressured with no words and my wife accepted the terms. The punishments for my wife proceeded as originally planned. The fiancé's side also presented $20,000 alimony from my wife, which her side agreed to. At this point, my FIL siblings became the guarantors for the alimony payments. They said that with what happened to my MIL2, they would take responsibility in handling this matter. The plan is that my FIL siblings to front the alimony etc. temporarily, then once my MIL's life stabilizes, they got him sell the house and use that money to pay back the siblings. But it seems with my FIL's remaining debts, it'll end up in the red. Once this case settles, my wife and FIL are moving into my FIL's brother's detached house in the next city. The lover seems to be hopping between his friends' places, currently in the next state over. Apparently the lover's parents are arranging to talk to his friends and have them hold him, expecting to secure him today or tomorrow. The fiancé's side is doing things like canceling the wedding hall and sending apology letters to invited guests. Since the wedding was soon, it seems they're in a huge rush. I'm also going to a realtor introduced by a buddy in this morning. Apparently there's a good property near my daughter's elementary school. If there are no issues, I think I'll take it since it's close to my MIL's workplace too. I'm living with my MIL. Also, my lawyer introduced my MIL to a lawyer who specializes in later-in-life divorce. They would meet next Monday. I never imagined it would turn out like this. I thought I'd confront my wife and lover with divorce and alimony, and immediately start a new life. It was rough, good job. The lover is hopeless, how unseemly. Your FIL is also awful. Moving became impossible. Apparently the floor under the kitchen, bath, and toilet of the place we planned is badly damaged from water leaks and other reasons. Searching for a new place, but I want to move quickly. They did catch the lover, and at the discussion the next day we knew that his running away was triggered by an email from my wife. She sent an email saying that time of month isn't coming. And the lover imagined the worst and fled. I panicked more than him, honestly. Then the lawyer calmly told me they were using birth control pills and condoms, so she's probably not pregnant. It's likely just be late because of some stress. You don't need to worry about it. My MIL took my wife to the hospital with the lover's parents in tow, and the test results were negative. 3 days later, that time of month came and it was over. It was apparently less than 2 weeks late. Women have it tough. The settlement with the lover went quite favorably, with him also running away. $70,000 alimony and a lump sum, return of the $15,000 he got from my wife. I said to pay it back together with my wife, but it turned out this way on the lover's dad's wishes. He is banned from contacting me, my daughter, my family, $20,000 in case of violation. Furthermore, the lover's parents gave consolation money for my daughter. Also, the lover's planned September resignation out of company goodwill became disciplinary dismissal for absence without notice due to running away. A situation of just deserts. But apparently the lover's still fixated on and causing trouble for his ex-fiancée. How's your daughter doing? Any meddling from the ex-wife and others? My daughter is fine. She seems to be into lace knitting lately. No meddling from ex-wife or FIL. More like, I hear my ex-FIL collapsed and it's unclear if he'll make it. But my MIL still divorced him. Ex-wife has finished moving into my ex-FIL's brother's dead ache. My ex-FIL's brother's eldest son and his wife said they'll support my MIL financially. Ex-FIL got what he deserved. Did your scumbag ex-wife apologize to your daughter for abusing and neglecting her? I've barely spoken to my ex-wife since the company visit. Guess she's lost interest in us. When my ex-wife was moving out, I took my daughter to see her one last time. With my parents. At that time, my ex-wife apologized with "I'm so sorry. Thank you for everything all this time. Please take good care of our daughter." But that's it. Nothing about the pregnancy scare. We gave my daughter and ex-wife time to talk alone, but I don't know what they said. My daughter just reported, "I was able to tell mom thanks for everything up until now, and that was it." I've decided not to ask this too deeply. My ex-wife quit in mid-September once the handover was complete. Thanks to a female colleague's connections, she got a full-time office job in the next city over starting in November. The plan is to use that salary to pay back the money fronted by my ex-FIL's brother and Mel. Also, for some reason there's been no retaliation against my ex-wife from the female colleague's husband and colleague's lover's wife. The reason is unclear. I have no idea what's going on. Well, things got sloppy at the end, but right now I'm living with my daughter and ex-MIL. My daughter is going to the same school as before, and my ex-MIL is doing various prep to go back to work. I returned to work too. It's an unusual living arrangement, but my daughter seems happy, which is what matters. I haven't been involved with that trash group since then, so I'm feeling calmer. Thanks for sticking with my scattered writing. Good work. Good thing you could cut ties with the trash. Live peacefully with your daughter and ex-MIL. Forget about the scumbags, ignore them. And that was the story of the man who completely won the trash group and got back his peaceful days. By the way, swapping refers to two or more couples who are in a sexual relationship, like spouses, exchanging partners and engaging in sexual acts. This act is often considered problematic from a legal and social system perspective. But surprisingly, many people are said to practice it all over the world.